What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we have the third and final part of the Great League Battle of Spice. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's participated and once again taking the Spice to a whole new level this season. For anyone that unfortunately didn't make it into any of these three videos, please don't feel disheartened. This was by far the hardest Battle of Spice to choose which battles deserve to be featured and which battles just narrowly missed out. Usually there are at least 5 to 10 teams that I can instantly discard without even watching the battle, just because they're not quite up to the same level of Spice as everyone else, but this time I had to watch all 75 Great League submissions and spent several hours trying to whittle it down to just 60. Maybe I could have done 25 battles per video and included everyone, but it's done now, so with that being said, let's just get into the question of the day. What is your favourite thing about battling in the Go Battle League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle, we see a shiny Aron into a Wigglytuff, so a Great Lead. The opponent's going to swap into Clodsire, and we instantly respond with our War Turtle, and the opponent's going to fire off a charge move. Now, War Turtle has some decent bulk, so we're going to let the first move go through. They go for an Earthquake. That does about 50% of our health, maybe just slightly more than that. We're now actually not going to go straight for the Hydro Pump. We go for an Ice Beam that goes unshielded, and the opponent can live that, make it to another charge move, so we will shield up the Stone Edge, but we can go for a Water Gun Farm Down. Now we are going to see the Wigglytuff coming back in, and we will be able to make it to a Hydro Pump before they Charm Farm us down. Hydro Pump coming through, does huge damage to the Wigglytuff, and we can just tackle farm them down with our Aron, and the opponent's got a Gligar in the back now. Of course, we are going to be double resisting the wing attack damage and the Aerial Ace, but Dig would hit for double super effective, so we're going to swap into our Tackle Squirtle here. Gonna let the first move go through as the opponent goes for an Aerial Ace. We do actually tank that reasonably well. Gonna let the next one go through as well as they go for a second Aerial Ace, and we will just barely make it to an Aqua Tail. Now this, I do expect to grab a shield from the opponent, and it does grab the shield there, but they can wing attack farm us down. Now this is really scary. Obviously Dig is gonna hit for double super effective damage, but we're gonna call a bait, and it's just an Aerial Ace, and the opponent realizes they made a huge mistake and they just concede the match there. So going into the next battle, and another triple shiny shadow theme team. Once again, don't have the shiny shadows for the graphic, but trust me, these are shiny and shadow. We are going to see the opponent swaps into a Pelipper. We're going to shield with our Shadow Honchkrow, go for a Sky Attack, and this is going to do huge damage if they let it go through. They actually do let it go through. We one-shot them, and we retain switch advantage, which is pretty nice for us because we've got a Shadow Victory Belt in the back. The opponent is running Powder Snow, but we barely make it to a second Sky Attack, grabbing a shield back from the opponent, and we come in with our shiny Shadow Politoed. Gonna let the first move go through. They go for the Draw Run, and the opponent's gonna swap into Lantern, trying to catch the move there, but they're not able to do so. We do hold on to the energy very nicely. We can let whatever they throw go through. Thunderbolt actually does quite a lot of damage there, but we can live it, and we can go for a Leaf Blade here before the opponent does fully Powder Snow farm us down. The opponent does correctly let that go through as it is resisted damage, but it doesn't matter. We're already at the back-to-back Weather Ball, so the first one coming through grabs the final shield from the opponent, and we can make it to Weather Ball number 2. We are going to undercharge it. It still takes out the Sand Slash, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we've got a triple Mankey Evolution line theme team here with the newly released Annihilate, but we're leading with the Primeape. Gonna go for a Night Sash here. Night Sash is going to hit for super effective damage, no boost, but the opponent is gonna overfarm here, allowing us to make it to Night Sash number 2 before the opponent even throws a charge move. And at this point, since we got the shield advantage, we got 3 fighting type Pokemon, might as well just let the Mankey go down, sorry, the Primeape go down. We're now gonna come in with the Annihilate. They have debuffed their attack with that Psycho Boost, and now they go for Thunderbolt there, not making sure that they go for another Psycho Boost, sorry, and then debuff their attack once again. We go for an Ice Punch. The opponent finally just lets the Deoxys go down, and they're going to come in with a Licky Tongue. So they actually don't even farm to the Power Whip here, so we can very easily let a Body Slam go through. We're now going to swap into our level 50 Mankey, which is very cool to see. Going to go straight for the Cross Chop here. Cross Chop going to hit for huge damage. The opponent does just barely live that, and we can go for a second Cross Chop. And I don't think it's actually worth double moving a Mankey because Brick Break is an awful move and just strictly worse than the Cross Shot, but it doesn't really matter. They go for Night Slash, they do get the farm down, which is not ideal. We did make it to a Shadow Ball there, but we're going to go and settle for an Ice Punch. Ice Punch doesn't KO. They do make it to another charge move, but I don't think this really matters. We can shield up the Night Slash, go for the counter farm down, and the opponent is only going to make it to a Body Slam at best, so the opponent just gets countered down and we're able to take that game. Into next game, awful lead with our Shadow Dragonite, so we safe swap into a Flaffy, and the opponent comes in with Swampert, and oh my gosh, are we going to land a Trailblaze in this battle? I would love to see it. They go for a Hydro Cannon, probably don't even know that we're running Trailblaze here. I didn't know it until I got hit by a Trailblaze, by a Flaffy before, but the opponent does correctly shield that up, and at this point, can't really afford to double shield here, so we will let it go through. Hydro Cannon does take us out, and we're actually running Steel Wing on our Shadow Dragonite, which is interesting. We can at least hit for super effective damage up against a Wigglytuff, but the Dragon Claw takes them out there. We are very slow to swap out into our Purified Camerupt, and unfortunately the opponent has a Talonflame in the back. They will resist everything we can possibly throw. We're going to go for an Earth Power there, grabbing the shield from the opponent. But honestly, if we overfarm enough here, I think we should be able to go for an Overheat, but no, the opponent is going to not make it to a charge move, and we settle for just an Earth Power. I think Overheat might have even KO'd from that range there, but Flame Charge will definitely take us out. We come in with the Shadow Dragonite, we leave with a Super Power loaded. This is going to hit for huge damage though, and it actually takes out the Wigglytuff from that range, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, great lead for us as we see a Linoon into Jellicent, and the opponent is at least running Bubble, so they're hitting for neutral damage with the fast moves, but we can go straight for a Grass Knot, grab a shield from the opponent, and we can safely let the first move go through, but no, we're actually going to shield it up. They go for a Shadow Ball, which would have been double resisted, so that makes no sense whatsoever, but whatever. They're going to swap into a Bastiodon, and we go for Dig, and Dig hits for double super effective damage, so Linoon completely core breaking the opponent's team so far. Going to go for the second Dig, grab a shield from the opponent, and at this point, we're happy to let the Linoon go down, apparently. Flamethrower will be taking us out. We can come in with an Ice Fang Shadow Mightyena here, and the opponent will make it to another charge move, but it looks like we're happy to go for a full resisted Ice Fang farm down here. As they go for the Flamethrower, they swap back into Jellicent, but we do respond just about quickly enough. Go for a Crunch. Crunch will be taking out the Jellicent. They come back in with the Bastiodon, and we go for the full farm down, and now we're going to swap instantly into Deoxys. We barely make it to a Psycho Boost before they bubble farm us down, but Psycho Boost will easily one-shot the Politoed, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Rowlet into Swampert, so an amazing lead for us, and the opponent is going to have to swap out straight away. They swap into Skarmory. For whatever reason, we're staying in for ages. I'm not so sure about that at all. We're now going to come in with our Hisuian Growlithe. This is probably level 50, and they go for a Sky Attack, and that does some sizable damage, not going to lie. We are going to see the opponent makes it to another charge move here. We're going to shield this up, and honestly, we are so low that the opponent can probably just farm us down if we don't throw a charge move here and take them out, so really should have swapped out a lot sooner. Rockside coming through, grabs a shield, but the opponent flips switch advantage, and this is awful because Amora here is going to take double super effective damage from these Steel Wings, as it does hit for double super effective damage. They then go for a Brave Bird, which is resisted, but it does a lot there, and then for whatever reason they come in with Clodsire, so they just flip switch advantage, and then gave it right back to us because they come in with a Pokemon that is weak to the Ice typing, but then they make a very nice catch, catching a neutral Weather Ball onto their Swampert, but it doesn't really matter. We come straight in with the Rowlet, gonna go for the Seed Bomb straight away. The opponent fully sacrifices the Swampert there, which is a smart play by the opponent because honestly Swampert wasn't going to do much there, as we would resist everything they throw, but the opponent doesn't quite take us out with a Sludge Bomb there, allowing us to make it to a Seed Bomb, which they then use a shield for. They do get a huge Mudshot farm down, but we were just one Powder Snow away from the next Weather Ball, so luckily for us, we can shield the first charge move, go for the CMP tie, and Weather Ball will be enough damage from this range to take out the Clodsire, and we're able to take that game. So not the best gameplay there, but we're still able to pick up the win. And into the next battle, we've got a Team Rocket theme team, but with slightly upgraded Pokemon here, as we see Berserker and Galarian Weezing, which is quite cool to see. The opponent's going to come in with, or lead with a Pelipper. We're going to go for a Foul Play here. Foul Play is going to deal some decent damage there, but they can't no-shield it. And honestly, a second Weather Ball will take us out from this range, so we're going to use our shield. We're going to overfarm as much as possible, go for a Foul Play just before they make it to the next charge move, and the opponent will shield. We're then going to swap, catch the move onto our Galarian Weezing, which is a nice play, preserving some of the health on our Berserker, and the opponent comes in with a Shadow Gligar. So we're going to overfarm, go for the Overheat on the CMP tie with the Dig, and Overheat does huge damage to the Gligar. At this point, we're happy to let the Galarian Weezing go down. Sorry, I forgot what it was called for a second there. But we're going to wait out Switch Clock, come in with our Shadow Arbok, go for a full Dragon Tail farm down, and let's see what that final Pokemon is, or if they come back in with the Pelipper, but they're going to come in with the Trevenant. We're going to go for an Acid Spray here, going for the bait, and the opponent is going to shield the bait. We'll then swap into our Berserker. We're going to let this move go through here, so the opponent's going to go for a Seed Bomb. That will allow us to make it to a foul play, but the opponent makes a really nice catch onto Pelipper, and that does take out the Pelipper. But now I think we should still be fine here, as we will make it to an Acid Spray in time. And this will be enough damage from this range to take out the Trevenant, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we got Galarian Moltres in the lead up against the Swampert, so this is pretty decent for us. We can resist the Mud Shot damage, of course. Hydro Cannon's still going to do a lot there, but we can go straight for a Brave Bird. Brave Bird going to do huge damage in this matchup, so the opponent does use their shield. We're now going to swap into a Charm Donphan, which is very unique to see. Unfortunately, they will very easily outpace us to the charge moves, so they go for one Hydro Cannon, going for a second one back to back. We're going to have to double shield straight away here, but we will be able to Charm farm down the Swampert, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Dedenne here, and we're going to go for a Heavy Slam. I think Trailblazer is probably the better move to go for here, just because it will boost our attack, and they shield it anyway. So yeah, not so sure about that play, but let's see. The opponent going to go for the Play Rough, taking us out. We can come in with our... This actually isn't a Kling here, but I didn't have a graphic for whatever this Pokemon is. I think it's just called Clang or something. I don't know, but yeah. We're going to see we let that move go through. It is resisted damage. We can now go for a Discharge. I think this is... No, it's a Zap Cannon, and the opponent caught it onto their Shift Tree, which is a really nice play. But in the end, it doesn't matter for them, as we can tank the move, as we did debuff their attack there, and we will make it to a Brave Bird. This is resisted damage, but Brave Bird hits like a truck. It takes out the Dedenne, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we've got a shiny Gigalith into an Alolan Marowak, so very good lead. The opponent's going to Safe Swap into Sableye, and we stay in initially there, just getting some big smackdown damage onto the Sableye, which will hopefully put them into Lick Farm down range, but we might have to double shield here. Honestly, Stoutland, not the bulkiest Pokemon ever. We're going to see a Foul Play coming through, and it does over half our health, which isn't too great, since obviously if they go for a second Foul Play, that will KO. But here we can go for a Crunch, grab a shield, and we do get the defense drop, and that might be huge, because I think now we can just fully Lick Farm them down. It will be very close here, but we're committing to the farm down, and we get there in time. It's a really good play there. We're going to come out with a lot of energy. The opponent comes back in with their Marowak. We're going straight for a Crunch here. It's going to hit for super effective damage, so the opponent does use their shield, but they can Fire Spin farm us down. And now they come in with a Medicham. We're a little bit slow to swap out there, but it doesn't matter. We've got Miss Magius in the back. We can tank whatever they throw. They go for a Psychic. That does quite a lot of damage, actually. But it doesn't matter. We can now go for an Ominous Wind, and this, well, actually it probably won't KO. Actually, it's a Shadow Ball, my bad, and it does take out the Medicham, and we make it to a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse will also be taking out the Alolan Marowak, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next game, we've got a Cherrim into Lantern, so this is a great lead for us, although if we want to do any big damage, we have to land a Solar Beam, but the opponent swaps into Skeledirge, and we've got a really good response in the form of Bibarel. Of course, Bibarel going to resist the Fire damage and the Shadow Ball damage as well, so only going to take neutral from these Disarming Voices. Excuse me there. We can tank one. We have to shield one though, because it still does quite a lot of damage there. But we can now commit to a full Water Gun farm down. But we actually allow them to get off 2 more Incinerates there, which is really smart. That basically gives Lantern 1 Water Gun farm down, which is a really nice play there. We're now going to come in with the Cherrim, and the opponent's got a Machamp in the back. We swap into our Luxray. The opponent doesn't throw straight away though, which is huge. This should grab the final shield from the opponent, and it does grab that shield, and the opponent doesn't even commit to the counter farm down either. So that's huge for us. Cross Chop will be taking us out. We can go for 1 extra Bullet Seed. We can actually overfarm more than that if we want to. The opponent going to go for a Rock Slide there. We can now go for the Weather Ball. This will be enough damage to take out the Machamp, and then we will get to see a huge Solar Beam landing up against the Lantern. No shields in play remaining, so we can go straight for the Solar Beam. Solar Beam one-shots the Lantern, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we've got a triple Eel theme team, which is really cool to see. We're leading Gorbis into Scrafty, and unfortunately, Draining Kiss isn't the best move, but it will hit for double super effective up against the Scrafty, so hopefully we do get to see it land here. The opponent goes for an Acid Spray, which we did see in the previous video, which is quite cool, but the opponent was running Snarl as their fast move as well. Unfortunately, they do they do go and shield up the Draining Kiss, so we're going to swap into our Electros here, tank the move. That does quite a lot of damage, probably not expecting Acid Spray and Foul Play, but we go for a Dragon Claw, finally getting rid of the Scrafty, and the opponent comes in with a Drapion, and we do commit to the Liquidation. We barely get there in time. Absolutely huge, as Liquidation, well, I mean, it does a little bit more damage than the Dragon Claw, not loads, but it's still good for us. And we're now going to come in with the Gorbis, let the move go through as the opponent goes for a Fell Stinger. We actually live that, and the opponent throws their energy here, so expecting us to make it to another charge move. Fell Stinger going to double boost their attack, but it doesn't really matter. These Poison Stings don't do an awful lot of damage. At this point, we should probably shield. It is just another Fell Stinger, unfortunately, but if that was like an Aqua Tail or a Crunch, that would have done huge damage, and the opponent's got a Bubble Politoed in the back, so things are looking great for us. We go straight for the Discharge, grab the final shield, and we will be able to just safely shield up the next move, go for Discharge number 2. They go for the Ice Beam, which was a Community Day move, I do believe, and now we can go for the Discharge number 2, taking out the Politoed, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got another regional theme team here with Carnivine in the lead up against Galarian Stunfisk. Excuse me there. And we're going to see a Power Whip coming through. Power Whip going to do neutral damage, grabs a shield from the opponent. And apologies, I have slightly stretched this game because it was a very widescreen, probably done on a tablet, but yeah, for the graphic, it's just a lot easier to have all the battles in the same sort of dimensions. We're going to go for Power Whip number 2, dealing big damage to the Stunfisk. The opponent's now going to go for an Earthquake, which is resisted damage, although it still does quite a lot to the very glassy Carnivine. At this point, we're going to shield this up because we can go for a full Vine Whip farm down, and we're going to see a Registeel in the back. So the opponent running Galarian Stunfisk in the lead with Registeel in the back. Quite a crazy team composition here, but I mean, look at our team. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense. But there we make an amazing catch. If we just caught a Focus Blast, which we have, that was absolutely insane. Really good counting there. And the opponent's got a Azumarill as their third and final Pokemon. We've got Sigilyph here. I've never seen this Pokemon in battle. I don't even have it. I don't know what moves it learns, so I don't know if Ancient Power is the preferred move to go for, but doesn't really matter. We can come in with the Carnivine. We're going to go for one Vine Whip, making sure we throw on good timing. Power Whip will grab the final shield from the Azu, and we can make it to another Power Whip in time. Power Whip here will be taking out the Azumarill. We swap into our Bufalon, and we are running Earthquake, but the opponent makes it to another charge move on their Registeel. But for whatever reason, they go for the Zap Cannon. What are you doing, Registeel? We know you've got Focus Blast, you've already thrown it, but Earthquake takes out the Registeel, and we take that game. Those Registeel users, they just can't help it, can they? I mean, to be fair, the one time they probably went for a Focus Blast, it was caught on a Flying and Psychic type Pokemon. But into the next battle, we see Shadow Cacturn in the lead, and we're going to swap into our Camerupt as the opponent safe swaps into a Bastodon. I think they safe swap there. I can't remember if Bastion was their lead Pokemon, but either way, we're going to respond with our Camerupt, shield as we go for the Earth Power, which does get shielded by their Bastodon, and unfortunately, it looks like the opponent will be able to fully smack down Farmers down if they double shield, which is what they're going to do, of course, because Bastodon is going to fight for Switch Advantage, a very alignment-based Pokemon, or alignment-dependent Pokemon. We're going to come back in with our Shadow Cacturn, shield up the Charge Move as they go for the Flamethrower. We can overfarm just a little bit, but we are taking quite a lot of damage from the smackdowns here. The opponent's going to swap back into their Raichu. We one-shot them with the Grass Knot, and they've got a Shadow Swampert in the back there, so really not sure why the opponent swapped out there, but Grass Knot one-shots the Swampert, and the opponent is actually going to farm us down there. But we can come in with our Lampent, go for the Ember farm down, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got a triple gold shiny theme team here. Apologies about the quality of this battle, the low resolution. It was just sent like this, so not a lot I can do. And we're going to see the opponent goes for a Body Slam there, and we are going to overfarm in this matchup, then catch the next Body Slam onto our Fortress, which is a really nice play there as it is resisted damage. The opponent will make it to another charge move. This could be a Rock Slide. It is the Rock Slide. It does quite a lot of damage there, but we're still able to commit to the full Bug Bite farm down and come out with quite a lot of energy. The opponent comes in with a Gligar, so we're going to go for the Rock Tomb straight away. Rock Tomb is going to be no shielded. It doesn't do an awful lot of damage, but it does debuff their attack, which is quite nice to see. And let's see what we want to do here. We're going to come back in with the Arbok, go straight for a Dark Pulse here. Dark Pulse will do some nice damage. It will grab a shield, and then we swap into our Klinklang. This time it is a Klinklang. I think that's what it's called anyways. We're going to shield up the Dig here, and we are going to see us committing to the Zap Cannon. Unfortunately, not quite there yet, so we're going to shield again. The opponent does full send a second dig, but then they swap into a Zoom Reel, so we can full send another Zap Cannon here. Zap Cannon does huge damage. Unfortunately, doesn't quite put them into farm down range before they will make it to a charge move, so we go for a mirror shot. The opponent shields that up, and they need to go for a Hydro Pump here. But it's just an Ice Beam, which we live very comfortably, and we should now be able to make it to another Zap Cannon up against the Gligar, and this will certainly be enough damage to take out the Gligar, and we take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got Golbat, and then we've got Pawniard and Bishop in the back. So pretty good lead matchup here. Of course, we are double resisting counters, Psycho Boost and Thunderbolt, and obviously Rock Slide if they're running it, all going to hit for super effective damage. So it would be a good idea to use our shields. We're actually going to go for a second Poison Fang here, already landing the first one. The opponent knows they can tank the next one, but it will get them very low. And of course, debuff their defense. They're going to go for a Thunderbolt. They swap into Shadow Dragonair. We're now going to go for another Poison Fang, just lower their defense straight away. The opponent does finally use a shield, and now we can swap into our Pawniard. We are of course resisting the Dragon Breath damage, but an Aqua Tail will do sizable damage to the Pawniard. We're going to overfarm just a little bit here, go for a Night Slash, and Night Slash will grab the final shield from the opponent, and we make it to another Night Slash. Looks like we also win the CMP tie as well, which is pretty huge. Night Slash takes out the Dragonair, and actually don't come in with their Deoxys, they come in instead with a Serperior. So we do make it to another Night Slash before they farm us down. They do have a decent amount of energy here, but it's still looking pretty good for us. We come in with our Bishop. We will resist everything they can possibly throw, although it's still going to do a decent amount of damage here as they go for the Frenzy Plant, and we're just going to fire off the X-Scissor straight away. Honestly, probably could have overfarmed a little bit there, but it doesn't matter. We can come back in with our Golbat. The opponent needs to make it to back-to-back charge moves. They're not making it, so the opponent just concedes the match there. Into the next game, we've got a triple Shadow team, and we're leading up against a Talonflame. We saw in a previous video, up against Talonflame with an Excadrill in the back was very difficult here, as the opponent can just shield and farm us down. So we're actually going to let this move go through. Probably better to come in with the Alolan Marowak, and we are at least running Hex, so dealing neutral fast move damage. Gonna have to shield this up. They are boosted, but they boost once again with another Flame Charge. We can overfarm considerably, and at this point, probably expecting they're not going to double shield the Talonflame. So we do go for 4 Hexes, go for the Shadow Bone. Very good timing there, as that does mean that the third and final Incinerate damage doesn't register. They now come in with Wigglytuff. We go for a Fire Blast, dealing huge damage, and the opponent's got a Lantern in the back, so we can very easily go for a Drill Run here. Drill Run is going to do absolutely huge damage. It one-shots the Lantern, and the opponent just concedes the match there. So going into the next battle, we've got the full Abra line here. Unfortunately, the Shadow Abra is just 475 CP, so certainly not fully powered up, but we are going to use it as a sacrificial swap straight away, catching a Liquidation, and at this point we should just be able to fully Confusion farm them down with our Alakazam, which we're going to do here, and we do get that farm down. Unfortunately, single moved, only running Fire Punch, but we're probably going to grab shields anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. We go for the Fire Punch there, grabbing the first shield from the opponent. We overfarm here. The opponent might try and commit to a full Mudshot farm down, and we grab the second shield there. They do get a full Mudshot farm down, which isn't ideal since they're might be running Night Slash here, which was a Community Day move, but no, it's a Scorching Sands. It debuffs our attack, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't make a huge difference as Kadabra still has a huge attack stat. Side Beam, awful move, but it one-shots the Hitmonchan, and we will be able to make it to a charge move here. Just have to safely shoot up the charge move. It is a Scorching Sands, number 2, doesn't really matter. Shadow Ball coming through. This will be enough damage to take out the Sand Slash, and we're able to take that game. Going into the next battle, we see a Farfetch'd into a Runerigus. So this is a fine matchup. We safe swap into our Fearow, which is also a great matchup. I don't really see the reason to swap out there, but I guess maybe if the opponent's got a Steel type in the back, we want to try and bait it out with our Fearow, which does at least have Drill Run full coverage, which we're going to throw here into the Runerigus, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. We can tank this. They have debuffed our defense, but a Shadow Ball is still double resisted, and they come in with a Licky Tongue as well, so that's great. We can now go for a Sky Attack, dealing pretty sizable damage there to the very bulky Licky Tongue. Are we going to shield this? No, we're happy to let this go down. Body Slam will be taking us out. But we can now wait out the switch clock, come in with our Farfetch, and actually, okay, it was a Galarian Farfetch, so that's my bad, not the regular Kanto Farfetch, which would normally resist everything Runerigus can throw, but instead we are part fighting, well, actually pure fighting, so we're going to go for a Leaf Blade, taking out the Licky Tongue. The opponent comes in with a Medicham, so we're going to full send a Brave Bird here. Brave Bird going to do huge damage, it actually one-shots the Medicham there. We debuff our defense, but we just need to get off a Leaf Blade. This should grab the final shield from the Runerigus, and we do get that shield, and now we can just swap into our Zubat. We get the confusion through as the opponent throws on alignment, and at this point we can shield up the Sand Tomb. It is a bait, but it doesn't matter. We make it to an Aerial Ace. Could have played it safe and gone for the Psychic Fangs, but either way, Aerial Ace takes out the Runerigus, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see a Parasect in the lead up against a Licky Tongue, and we're running a triple crab theme team. So we are running Solar Beam, which will be cool to see if it does connect, but unfortunately, we're going to build up to the Solar Beam and bait with an X-Scissor, which the opponent lets go through. So unfortunately, we could have landed the Solar Beam and done huge damage. I'm interested to know if that would have KO'd, but it doesn't matter as we make a really nice catch, catching the second Body Slam onto our Crustle, which is resisted because of the rock typing. And here we're going to go for the X-Scissor, throwing just before the opponent makes it to a Power Whip. X-Scissor will be taking out the Licky Tongue, and they come in with a Skeledirge. Now, here it's important to note that we don't go for the X-Scissor. Really nice play. Of course, that would be double resisted, and really no point throwing on alignment either. Instead, the opponent commits to the Incinerate Farm Down, and we make it to a Rock Slide, grab the shield there. And we're going to come in with our Crawdon. We're unfortunately going to have to double shield here, but we're probably happy to double shield, get a huge energy advantage on our Crawdon, and the opponent's got a Golbat, I believe that was. So we're going to go straight for the Crab Hammer, dealing huge damage there. The opponent is going to over farm here, so we can make it to a Night Slash. Night Slash grabs the final shield. We're now going to wait one turn, swap into our Parasect, make an amazing catch. We catch a Shadow Ball, which I have literally no idea why they threw a Shadow Ball anyways, but it doesn't matter. We come up with a Night Slash loaded. Night Slash will certainly be enough damage to take out the Skeledirge, and we're able to take that game. So going into the final battle of this video, we see Machoke into a Talonflame, and this is certainly not ideal, but we've got a Shinotic in the back, a shiny Shinotic as well, which I didn't even know was released, but we're going to go for a Dynamic Punch here. Unfortunately, unless you've got the Purified Machoke, I think Machoke only learns fighting type moves, so no coverage at all for a flying type Pokemon, but the opponent doesn't know that, and we will make it to a second Dynamic Punch on the CMP tie, and the opponent will let that go through. So unfortunately, not going to deal enough damage to KO, but it does get them fairly low considering we've only got resisted damage. That's not so bad, but the opponent can now go for another charge move into our Swallow. We're going to shield it up, and we should be able to go for a full farm down, but the opponent gives up switch advantage. They swap into Lantern. We come in with our Shinotic, and we can let this move go through. I mean, we've got no shields anyway, so of course we have to, but we should be over farming in this matchup, going for the first Seed Bomb. Unfortunately, Seed Bomb, not the strongest move, so we're going to have to throw a second charge move to get rid of the Lantern here, but we do make it to Seed Bomb number 2. Seed Bomb is going to grab... Well, actually, no, the opponent just lets that go through. We can actually Astonish farm down the Talonflame there, and they've got a Poliwrath in the back, and we just barely make it to another Seed Bomb. Honestly, we need to grab the shield here, and we do grab that shield. We've already got a Brave Bird loaded on our Swallow, and this is absolutely going to one-shot the Poliwrath, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.